and upping that sales skill set. In fact, sales skills is the name of the chapter. And so today I'm really looking to get your guys' feedback on the opening of this chapter. Definitely sales steps 1, 2, maybe 3. There was a lot in here that I highlighted that I know we can go deep on. So what did you guys pull out of this? And I'm going to keep muting me because the wind's really blowing out here. I'm sorry. I knew I hit the mute button. Did I actually hit the speaker button too? It sure was quiet. What do you guys have?
Well, he's really good at kind of grabbing your attention right out of the box. And this thing about 92% of businesses lack a standardized sales process, that is shocking. That is really shocking because I thought that most large businesses, when they hired an individual, they put them through a training, no matter whether it's sales or what. So you would think that it would be a standardized process, but I worked for Home Depot for a while, and they just threw you out on the sales floor, said, good luck. In about 2 weeks, you'll figure out where everything is. And until then, it'll be a great big mess. It's ridiculous.
Well, so, and think about that for us, because when I think of a process, I chunk that down to a little bit of information, moving quickly from just A to B. And a system is just a series of processes. So that's what I coach. So right. Even a standardized sales system, 92% don't have it. I'm curious as the dickens, though, for you guys, how many of you really have a granular sales process for every piece you do? Let's just say expireds. If you're working on going after expired listings, which I love doing and I love helping people do you really have a granular system of step-by-step process, the initial conversation, when you call them, the whole process of what you say in order to set the appointment? At the appointment, do you really have a step-by-step, this is the model I take them through, especially the 7 steps that we're going through right now? And how many of you on the recruiting piece are actually going through each of these steps if you're working on that side of the business versus just, jump into an attempted sale? So what did you guys pull out of this? What else? There was such good stuff. Thanks for that, Doug.
So a few things that I pulled out of this, well, I guess to answer your question, no, I feel like I don't have my systems in place, right? So I definitely have to work on getting that more streamlined. I feel like this will definitely helping me to identify, how to go about doing that. But a few things that I jot down, just reading overall, was wordplay. He utilizes wordplay very strategically in this book from the very beginning to the end. I forgot what I had it written down somewhere, but I'm not sure. But I remember in one of the chapters he said, "Don't call your salesperson a salesperson or your marketer," right? And then in one of the recent chapters he says, "Do not call your presentation a presentation." He uses the word executive briefing. And I thought that was so clever, because that wordplay really speaks a lot. Like certain words are trigger words, and whether it could either take you all the way to a positive, end or the opposite. So that stood out to me. Also, upselling your services. In the book from the very beginning, he starts to reference what we're going to learn later on, right? And so he says how we can do that in our presentation. We can start with one thing and reference, oh, later on we'll dive into that. Oh, later on I'll give you some more insight. And it keeps you, just anticipating what more you're going to get out of that. So I thought that was very clever, and he does it every time. And then another thing that stood out to me was Everyone needs people, right? He said that in the other chapter, but in every chapter, I find it very for me, it's hard to ask for help, right? To receive help. I'm usually the helper. I'm always giving, I'm always doing for others, but receiving help is a challenge for me. So maybe some you guys can kind of help me with that. But he always goes back to identifying things you want to implement, but he goes back to go back to the workshops, use your team, ask them how to make it better. He never, and I remember in the beginning, he said, you never have to figure it all out on your own. And I think that's another thing I continue to battle with too is like, I don't have to have all the answers, but I can use my team. And my team can be my mom or my sister or a coach, or it could be a complete stranger, right? But sometimes we don't kind of lean into those features. So I have a little bit more, but I'll let me other people speak. But that was a few things that I jot down.
That was
Well,
awesome, Frida.
yeah, that was a whole bunch of good stuff, Nafrita. And I love how you tied it throughout the book because, yes, the words we use, the words we select are very,
Mhm,
very, very important. And so
mhm.
practicing that, knowing
Yes,
what you're going to say in every situation, being prepared for it rather than winging it. Huge
correct.
takeaway from that. Celeste, did you have something else to add, though?
Oh, I always have something.
I know
I
you
think what
do.
I was amazed about is listening to Nafritha and her takeaways from this book, as opposed to just what I've thought of as well. And I think what I love is, I really want to, as she speaks, I want to learn who she is more. So there is something very powerful in not just, you can't just read this book. I think you have to show up. You have to
Mhm.
really take in how are you applying this in your business and then participate 100% in this room. And so, I know I always have something to say. You guys know that. But I love listening to Nafritha. I mean, I want to know you. And I wish we all were coming in like with that kind of energy because I get so much from her each time she speaks.
Well, I appreciate that, Celeste. I get so much from all of you guys as well. And honestly, this team has helped me just being in the space a lot. I have been kind of like listening in the background, been kind of I've had some recent challenges. I'm just finding out that the team I'm with is not no longer serving me. I'm exploring relocating to another state. So within the last 2 weeks, it's been a lot going on. So I'm definitely going to be tapping into some of these other groups with you guys. But I appreciate that, Celeste. I'm just here to contribute the way I can and absorb as much from you guys. So thank you.
Well, and
Great.
what both of you brought together, Nafrita, when you were talking about the whole workshop, and you don't have to figure it out all on yourself, and Celeste saying be present,
Hmm.
really is all tying to truly being vulnerable and asking for help. So, Nafrita, I'm going to say you got challenges outside business. You still reach out to your team here for help. We're here. We're here to pour in. The coaches are here. We do 90% of the work when we're coaching is on the person. Only 10% is on the business. We let you know it's going to be business coaching,
Right.
and then it's all about helping you get better and helping you put baggage down and helping you grow because we know your business grows to the extent that you do. So we're just working on helping you guys grow. And that's what this room's about as well. And I know the great thing for me is that's what this book has been about. All of it has been about you changing who you're being, you changing how you're behaving, you changing what you're believing. It all comes down to who you're being, and it's be first, then do, then have. So with that being said, what else from the content?
One of the big things I got when he was um, talking about us as sales people, I've never seen myself as a sales person. And so, but I'm in the sales business. So it's really helping me look at myself differently and the way I approach um, clients and future clients. So that has been very big for me. That, and I've always hated social media. I'm not a drama person. I don't like drama, and it's too dramatic for me. But what better way for me to know my clients and um what their hurting points are, so that I can address those. So, but I just think you get too caught up in that sometimes. So, I need help kind of with that. It's like I want to know them so that I can serve them better, but not get caught up in drama.
Absolutely. What we talk about is keeping your emotions between the lines. I had a great coaching conversation this morning with one of my agent partners here in the company. We did about an hour yesterday on this whole story and another 30, 45 minutes this morning on it, because the parties to the transaction that have been working together for 5 years are now actually moving from lease to purchase. And in that original listing agreement, she was being paid a commission if they moved from lease to purchase. She's all concerned that it's in none of the docs and nowhere. And she gets all wound up and starts talking fast and starts talking higher pitched. And it's about just keeping your emotions between the lines, always speaking from the heart, speaking from love. Once in a while, you got to mirror and match the other person, yet you keep coming back to bring it to your way of speaking, because you're going to be in control of it. You're right, Kelly. We got to keep that in check to truly be successful. That's part of our growth, being able to maintain that control of our emotions. What else you guys have?
Coach, can I add something to Kelly?
Always, Caesar.
Thank you. Kelly, I know that there is same thing. There's a lot of drama on social media, but as well as we talk about here, what you focus on expands. You could also focus on that there's great material out there of inspirational quotes, or I know on Twitter there's one that says will make you laugh, or there's ones that's really something like will make you cry because they're like make you happy. So just to point those things out, there's those avenues as well. And it is, you are probably not a saleswoman. You have established rapport, which is a sales step number one. Right. And that's so huge of putting the guard down of people to not see us as salespeople, to establish that rapport, which is probably for you supernatural. Right. And so like that's what you've never seen yourself as a saleswoman. I would change that wording to problem solver. You're an awesome problem solver for people. So just a little tip that I wanted to give you, because it seemed like you had an issue with because I'm in the same avenue as well. I probably haven't mastered social media to the level that I wanted to. And I still want to, or I still intend to continue to do that, videos and things like that nature. So just wanted to give you a little tip.
Thanks, Caesar.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Go, Ryan.
I think on everything that we're reading in these books, it's one thing that I can say is if I'm following along on the topic, I'm going to pick one thing to immediately implement. If we don't implement, you're just in a book club. And I don't want to be in a book club. I want to make sure that I'm implementing and making my business better. So if I'm going to say something in this group, I'm going to implement it immediately. So that's one thing I challenge everybody is like, what one thing can you find in this chapter that you can, like, I'm going to do this and immediately do it. So Kelly, if you're wanting to get better at social media, make a goal of whatever you choose. But like, if I was in your shoes, I'm going to comment with at least 5 words per comment to 10 people per day. And that's an immediate implementation. Otherwise, we're just reading the book. So that's my 2 cents on this thing. It's like everybody can implement something real simple and make it just part of who they are.
Could
Thank you,
implement
Ryan.
something every single day. One thing that you pick up each day, a small nugget you could implement. So on today, there was a great one in here. I want to jump into the first sales skill. building rapport, establishing rapport. A lot on here. Couple of my highlights, though.
Oh.
Here's the key. All my clients were also my friends.
Mm-hmm.
They were no longer prospects, they were partners. If you are friends with your clients, it's very hard for another salesperson to take them away from you.
Right.
I always love these stories. Oh, my friend went with another agent. My family member went with another agent. Well, maybe you weren't really being a friend. Maybe you weren't investing the effort. Practically every client I've had has also become a friend. Most have dined at my home or I at theirs.
Mm.
They've actually broken bread together, not just gone to a restaurant. Someone has invited them into their home and cooked a meal.
So,
Go, client.
so this thing, I've read that too, and for me, that gave me pause because there's this thing about keeping business business and keeping personal personal. I mean, that has been drilled into us. Don't go over the lines
Mm-hmm.
because
Well,
it gets
hold on.
messy.
That has been drilled into us. And how do you know it's been drilled into me, client?
Oh, I don't know. It's been drilled into you, but I've heard that. I mean, over time. So it's a
drilled
learned
into
behavior. It's a learned
So
behavior.
it's been drilled into you. And
Mhm.
others in this room may be in that same space. Now, that being said, client, who the heck drilled that into you?
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I'm cool with really changing that. Um, I'm cool with really changing that because I think that statement is wise. Because I'm thinking about if I have a family member that does something like that and they know I sell real estate, they go somewhere else and it's my cousin and they haven't told me, oh, this is a conversation.
Well, I want
What did I do wrong?
client, because this is a great coaching for everybody that we are going through you to make it happen. Because the odds are pretty high. Whoever said keep business business and personal personal hasn't played business at a high level. Maybe hasn't played personal at a high level either.
Right.
You've been drilled into you that money doesn't grow on
Trees.
Oh man, that money is the root of all
Evil.
Oh my gosh, we drilled in by people. You ever notice the people that say bad things about money, that complain about money, what do they all have in common?
Don't have much of it, probably.
Money problems.
Yeah, right? They have money problems. By the way, those people that all complain about the opposite sex, that you can't find a good husband or wife, that have all this negative conversation around those folks, what do they all have in common?
Single.
They don't have anyone.
Yeah, right?
Themselves.
So you're absolutely right, client, in that evolving and changing who you're hanging out with, as we talked about earlier today, before we got started, is going to change the nature of those conversations. And part of my absolute desire for all of you and anyone else maybe watching this out on a recording somewhere is to truly be open-minded. Open-minded in my world means that you are open to the possibility that anything you believe could be wrong. So you're open to the possibility. Doesn't mean it is, but you're at least willing to entertain other opinions and beliefs. And if it's not serving you, that you're really open to other possibilities and opinions and beliefs. If it's not getting you to that goal, if there are others that are playing at a much higher level than you are in whatever aspect of life you're looking at, health, spirituality, relationship, business, money, that maybe the way you've been doing it and what you've learned is wrong, and you're going to start being open and exploring what might help you get beyond it. I always love hearing from you guys. Scripts don't work. Historically, that's what always I got. Scripts don't, okay, they don't work for me. Well, how many of you in this room use scripts every single day? Yeah, and every hand should be up because it may not be written, yet you have the same natural, approximately 200-word vocabulary that you use on a daily basis. You have your habitual language, which is your script. So then the next question is, how's it working out? And if it's not working out, if it's not getting you, then it's another habit, another piece that be open to possibilities and learning new things. So we talked in here a little bit about rapport building. The second one that I want to hit on is qualifying your buyers.
Can I, Russ, can I go back to
Go.
this is really okay. How many of us have grown up in a small town, or you have a tight community of friends? And when you're in a small town, you might end up separating yourself from the people who talk too much, because you need to know when you have a confidentiality agreement with someone, it's a confidentiality agreement wherever it is. And that's where that separation becomes necessary. But you can be amazing friends and still not break confidences. So when you keep each other's confidence, now you have a whole new level of trust, and you have a whole new level of appreciation, because you can trust yourself with this friend who is also a business partner, who's not going to spill your beans over in the community and start gossiping about you. That's the separation that needs to take place.
Well, here's the fun part, Jeanette.
I'm
not even going to say it's a separation because it's in both sides. Everybody write this down. It's the one thing I desire from all of you. Be your word.
Yes.
That's it. It's not about separation, business, and friendship.
Right.
It's really about, imagine for a moment that in your world, every communication you had with every business person, salesperson, family member, friend, you knew that what they said you could take to the bank. You knew that their word was set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
How different would your world be?
So true.
So let's hit number 2, though, because this one.
Oh, so
really
I have something I wanted to add. Well,
add quick,
real
Nafrita,
quickly.
because I want to make sure we hit number 2 here.
Okay, and then I have something for number 2 too. So basically it says, be more interested in them than anyone else has ever been. If you want to be interesting, be interested. If you want to be fascinating, be fascinated. So find the common around, define the common ground, and hunt for the things you can relate to. And then moving on to step 2, one of the key things I got out of that was reset their buying criteria so that your service becomes the most logical choice.
So section 2, thank you, Nafrita, was on qualifying your buyer. What have we been historically told in all of our training that qualifying your buyer means?
Sending them to the bank.
Do you have a pre-approval?
Send them to the bank, getting a pre-approval, making sure they can do the deal, which is all about who?
Us.
Qualifying the buyer in this situation, which I love, is finding their need. Really diving in with them and looking for what they truly need to fulfill what they're looking for. Spending the time. So develop. Now it's more building 6 to 10 questions that are going to help you get to what their need is. Now, maybe, just maybe, by the way, and I know this has never happened to anybody on this call, but it could. The husband might have a different set of needs than the wife. So once you get through that, you now get to like filter down and sort out what are the true needs that both agree. And what are the additional ones that usually will break in favor of the wife?
So,
I
Coach,
want you guys to make sure you go through this. And for tomorrow, let's hit more of section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minimum. Go through this because tomorrow I'm going to be quizzing you on what are the 7 steps, because it's said right here at the beginning. One of the best places to start training a sales organization is to have them memorize the 7 steps. How many people that I'm looking at are in the business of selling something? Raise your hands. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, thank you, Mark. He's on both sides. So these 7 steps we should be internalizing today. So my takeaway, my implement, to speak to Ryan's words, is making sure you guys drill these 7 and you know them in the order they go, because that's the order we're going to run them. So today, guys, in 30 minutes, we have got our accelerators group. And then 30 minutes after that, we are on a Zoom together with Bob Berg, going through Go Givers, going through more sales skills, and it is going to be phenomenal today. High energy day. And then the rest of the day, we can lean into the actual activities with all that energy and make some incredible appointments happen for us. Love y'all. Get out of here. I'm going to do my 10:30 here. And then I will see you guys over in accelerators. For those that bounce in there, have a powerful day. Hello, Misty. Get that. Go here.
Hi. Sorry, I was muted.
All good. All right, Sean, any idea who 0002 is? Oh, they went away. Good.
Caitlin.
Tom is one of my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful folks that I am working diligently to bring over. I have known him for like 10 years out of Austin. Great guy. How about Matthew McClure, Sean?
He's a part of the cloud family, but not one of enterprise partners.
Not an enterprise partner yet. Okay. Well, I'm glad he's here. Got to go, Matthew. See ya. What a last 48 hours, man. A lot of great stuff happened. A lot of things happened to help you guys build. John and I doing a lot behind the scenes. So, and definitely know we're going to be talking more here. So, a lot of things to keep plussing for you guys. That being said, since they only have Andres, do you have all that background noise?
Probably I do. I'm on the road, going through Arizona right now, heading back to Huntsville.
From California to Huntsville?
Yes, sir.
And you're making a drive out of it?
Yes, sir.
That is freaking brutal.
And yes, it is.
Yeah. Having made that drive once from California to Austin, I was like, woof. Yeah. What part of California were you in?
San Diego.
All right. Well, at least it's a fairly straight shot out of San Diego. And yet, what do you figure, an 18, 19-hour drive?
29 hours.
29. Woo. All right. You know what you can do the whole drive, though, Andres?
I'm listening to books.
You can do that. What else can you do?
Make some calls. Conversations.
Time I've had is in the car rolling. So, Misty, you'll love this because I used to call expireds, and I would also call real estate agents to get into one of my training classes that I offered through Keller Williams. So I used an auto dialer. Love my auto dialer for cranking through data. Still have it. Still use it for certain projects. I'd have my son, who was like 14 or 15 at the time, running the auto dialer in the back of the car while I was on my headset driving. So he'd say, "Okay, Dad, it's dialing Misty Guzman." Here are the 2 things my son learned as we were calling real estate agents, which blew him away. Number 1, they don't answer their phone. There's actually 3 things. Number 2,
I don't believe that one.
they don't have their voicemail personalized. Number 3, Their voicemail is more often than not full, so you couldn't leave a message even if you wanted to. Sean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls that he was on, and those were his takeaways from the bell curve. More often than not, no answer. Almost more often than not personalized. So it was just, you've reached 512-912, and a good 30, 40% of the time, voicemail full, so where you can leave a message. Crazy. So we get to help them get better at that. I love having an accountability partner when it comes to the voicemail. In fact, every morning, if I see Sean's name on anything, it reminds me, shit, I got to change my voicemails. I was out walking the beach this morning, so I left my phone behind. Hadn't changed my voicemail yet. Damn, if Sean wasn't right there, give me a little backhand, change your voicemail.